Denny Blanco, my man, how you doing?
You know the vibes. It's in the Game podcast. Randy J. Cruz, Denny Blanco. Another day, another NBA schedule upon us, obviously, and we have a special guest in the building.
So if you're watching live on X or on YouTube, first of all, thank you. We really appreciate it. Follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music. In the middle, if you're watching us live, my boy Trevor Lane from Lakers Nation. There's a lot going on in Lakers Nation town, so I figured, hey, perfect time to get him on. Trevor Lane, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's an exciting time of year in the NBA, and happy to be on to talk Lakers Knicks. Should be a really fun matchup here coming up tomorrow night.
Hey, listen, man, I know you got the LA Dodger hats. I know baseball is coming up. There's a lot of things going on here in New York. Yankees, Juan Soto with the Mets, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for baseball season to get going. It's a great time of year for sports. We've got, obviously we missed the NFL, but we've got the NBA. Yeah. We're getting into playoff mode. We've got March Madness coming up. We got baseball coming back. If you're into soccer, the MLS has kicked off. Exciting stuff going on, certainly in the sports world right now.
And you can follow Trevor on Twitter at Trevor_Lane, also at Lakers Nation. So I'll start it off and then Denny will go after me. So listen, you guys have been 17-3 the last 20 games. You're number 2 in the Western Conference. I think if people said before everything started, where would you put the Lakers at this time of year? And maybe it could be in the top 5, maybe it could be in that play-in scenario, but to be number 2, I know the big trade happened a month ago, but you guys are standing firm for now at number 2. What have you been able to see from this team post the trade deadline, adding Luka to the fray?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for more in terms of being in the 2nd seed right now in the Western Conference. They've been a play-in team most recently instead of a playoff team. So to be in this position, Lakers fans very, very excited. But since the trade deadline, they've made a number of changes with this team. Obviously, Luka being the biggest one, right? Swapping out Anthony Davis, getting Luka Doncic. He's changed a lot of what they do on the offensive end. But the biggest thing that has actually shifted for this Lakers team, and it's been since the arrival of Dorian Finney-Smith, it's been how good they've been on the defensive side of the ball. And that's allowed time for Luka, for the Lakers to kind of figure out their offensive scheme, their flow on that side of the ball. They're getting there. We know they have not reached their ceiling, but it's been the defense, but that's been the night in, night out, consistent presence for them. And a lot of that was turning D'Angelo Russell into Dorian Finney-Smith, the return of Jared Vanderbilt. All of that has allowed Luka to kind of have his runway here as he's trying to find his shot, as he's finally getting that going. And then we're going to see where the Lakers offense can go. So it's a completely different team than the one we saw just a couple of months ago. And they've really found their footing on the defensive end of the floor, and the offense, it is starting to come around. And a lot of that is Luka is finally starting to look like Luka once again.
I mean, there was a rumor he was 270, but he don't look 270.
No, he's 320. He's 320. He's 320.
Oh man, Denny, go ahead, take it away.
Listen, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge, Trevor, your beautiful voiceover voice. First and foremost, let's get that out the stinking way. I just wanted to acknowledge that your voice, crisp. No need to even edit it. No audacity needed. You're good to go when it comes to your voice. I want to acknowledge that first and foremost.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Second. You mentioned offense, the Lakers. Yes, Luka obviously covers a lot of bases, and then obviously you mentioned the defense and how obviously the offense is going to come together in the defense. But I look at the West, and I look at OKC, and I look at Memphis, and I look at all the top teams in the West with the bigs. How do you think, no AD, how do you think the Lakers are going to offset with this new team? With no bigs going against those big teams in the West?
Well, so far, that was the big question coming in. That was why a lot of people, myself included, thought they were probably going to take a step back when they actually made the Luka trade, because they weren't going to have that defensive big. They were going to get hurt on the glass. They were going to get hurt at the rim. And they've actually been a better defensive team without Anthony Davis. It doesn't make sense on one hand because you give up a great defensive player in AD, a very good defensive player in Max Christie, and somehow get better overall defensively, but that's the way it's gone. And the reason why Well, there's a number of reasons, but a big part of it, though, is J.J. Redick and the schemes they've been using. They've been doing a lot of fronting in the post to try to deny the entry pass. It's how they've given they gave problems to the Knicks the first time around, the night of the Luka trade, when it broke about 10 minutes after I went off the air from the Lakers-Knicks postgame show that we did that night. So they were fronting a lot, trying to deny that entry pass. They did it to Ivica Zubac. They did it to Nikola Jokic as well. They've been very aggressive trying to keep the ball from getting to the post to begin with. They've been very aggressive with their perimeter defense and pressuring that entry pass. So they have tried to do what they can to mitigate that by, number one, preventing the ball from getting to the opponent's big. But also, we got to give credit to Jackson Hayes. He's been playing phenomenal basketball, better than I would have predicted. He has really stepped up into that starting role. He's not doing anything crazy in there, but playing within himself, catching lobs, finishing, being active on the defensive side of the ball. He's done a really nice job stepping in there as well. So it's the combination of the scheme and then getting better than expected play out of Jackson Hayes.
What have you been able to notice and see from JJ Redick? Obviously, when he got on board, a lot of questions. He's a former player. He's a podcaster. Why the move? And how would he thrive with the Lakers pre obviously a Luka trade? But now seeing what he's been able to do, top 2 seed, getting other players involved. Like, what was a question that you had of him going into his coaching tenure that now you feel like, you know what, maybe I was wrong about that?
Well, I think that the decision to hire J.J. Redick, it was 100% a gamble. You're taking a 40-year-old LeBron James and you're giving him a rookie head coach, a LeBron James that has no time for mistakes, and you're giving him a head coach that is probably going to make mistakes, as he should be expected to. He's a rookie, first time he's ever coached anything. And yet J.J. Redick has done a phenomenal job keeping the locker room focused. In fact, Jackson Hayes just had a comment about this last night about how he was asked, what do you credit the team's togetherness, the way they're playing on the defensive end of the floor? And he said it's the coaching staff. It's saying the way they have us prepared for games. I think we're seeing the team has an appreciation for the maniacal level of preparation that JJ Redick puts into every single game. And so that's kept the players, that's kept them all bought into the scheme. There is a very, very strong belief that if we execute what the coaching staff sets forth in terms of a game plan, we will be successful. And that's something they simply did not have in the last few years. So JJ Redick is really finding his way scheme-wise with this team. But the biggest thing, it's the belief. The players believe in him. You hear it consistently game after game. They are very, very bought in to what JJ Redick is selling right now. And that's been a big key for this team so far this season.
And before Denny goes next, staying on JJ, seeing what he's been able to do, but also you see Kenny Atkinson with the Cavaliers. You see Bickerstaff with the Pistons. You see Denote with the Thunder. Where do you have JJ in this Coach of the Year conversation? Should he be more in the conversation? Where do you have JJ Redick right now?
Well, I don't think you could ask for more from JJ Redick this season. The way the team has performed, the problem solving that he's shown both in game and game to game, the way that he's got the guys bought in, you could not ask for a better season from him from a coaching perspective. That said, I think Kenny Atkinson, you look at all the betting odds, it's pretty clear he's got the Coach of the Year pretty much locked up. The Cavs have been significantly better than we thought they would be coming into the season. They've been better the entire season. He's very deserving of the Coach of the Year award. I'll say JJ Redick, he deserves to be in that mix, and I think he is right now. He's in that mix. Kenny Atkinson, though, almost certainly is going to win it, but I think JJ Redick deserves a lot of credit. If the Lakers were the 2 seed all season long, maybe JJ would be right there, but they've just recently ascended to that height. So I do think Kenny Atkinson is going to get it, but JJ Redick certainly deserves a lot of credit for what he's done this season.
Denny Blanco.
Yeah, I mean, you were making a bunch of great points earlier. In order to stop a great big, you have to deny the entry wing. You have to front the post, and you have to cover weak side. That's the only way you're going to disrupt a great big man and keep him on his toes. When I saw the Lakers play Denver and they implemented that strategy, I said, holy smokes. I said, that's it. I said, that was the blueprint to stopping, not even stopping Joker. Obviously, we're not going to stop him. We're going to slow him down. And then you mentioned Jackson Hayes. That's obviously the center, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
it just seems like you put Luka around a good big man. It's kind of like a Jason Kidd osmosis, if you will. If you put Jason Kidd, for those who don't know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for those who don't know, Jason Kidd, when he was actually running around in the NBA, you put a good winger next to him, they're averaging close to 20 points easy. 15, It's easy work, 15, 20 points easily. So I bring it to LeBron. You mentioned JJ Redick, obviously. I bring it to LeBron. Are you shocked that he is this good still?
Yes. And like you have to, it's almost like you're watching him and you got to take a step back and you go, oh my God, that man is 40 years old, right? Like you have to remind yourself, because we've just been so used to, oh, it's just LeBron. This is what LeBron does. It's LeBron being LeBron. But then you stop and you see the stuff that he's doing and you see how effortless it was. In fact, last night in their game against the Pelicans, he had 34 points, led the team. It was the most effortless 34 I'd ever seen. It was like you look up and you go, wait, LeBron has 34? How did you barely noticed him in the game? He didn't have to really exert himself. It was a very casual, very easy 34 points that he scored. He is absolutely incredible. What he's doing at this age, it's like you really have to stop and remind yourself what he's doing, because it is so extraordinary and it's easy to take for granted. You have to stop and remind yourself this is not normal what we're seeing right now.
I mean, listen, plus the fact that he just scored over 50,000 points total from playoffs and regular season. And listen, Trevor, this GOAT debate is never going to end, no matter who you ask. This Jordan LeBron thing, but and to LeBron's point about the new media of like, how do we treat the current product, the young guys, and just kind of accepting or appreciating the floor, the kind of talent we have on the floor nowadays, and not just be that OG always comparing to, well, back in my days in the 80s and 90s. I do get all that, but it's like LeBron didn't say anything wrong. That's just the wave of what the new media is, and it's more social media, it's more hot takes, it's more instant reaction, as opposed to was 25, 30 years ago. So
Randy, I have a suggestion. Trevor, okay. Randy, I have a suggestion. Would you compare a DeLorean to a 2025 Porsche? You probably wouldn't, because it's apples to oranges. It doesn't make sense. It's out of the timeline.
Yeah.
It's not the same engine. It's not the same tires. It doesn't make sense. So when some of us sit back and want to compare LeBron to Jordan, that's how it goes in. That's how I register it when I hear the conversation. It's cute.
Yeah.
It's cute. And I don't know how many conversations, Trevor, you've had when it comes to that debate. And I don't know how do you address that?
I mean, I think there is that element to it where it's apples to oranges in a way. I mean, go back and watch a game from 20 years ago. Even 20, you're not even talking about prime Michael Jordan. Just watch 20 years ago. And it almost looks like it's a different sport, the way the game is being played, the way the rosters are structured, the way that offenses run, the way defenses run. It is so different. And I think that's part of why we see some of that negativity out there. Guys who are former players who played, decades ago, look back and they go, man, this is not the same game. They're not playing the same way I did. Therefore, it's inherently different. It must be something wrong. And we get a lot of negativity coming from that. As far as the debate in general, I think it's just kind of fodder for conversation. Who's better, LeBron or Jordan? Well, you know what? Everybody is going to be entrenched in their opinion. You're never going to change somebody's mind and have somebody go, oh, you know what? You're right. Actually, it's Jordan, or actually it's LeBron, if they were very firmly on one side or the other. I think I tend to land on this. Look, the bottom line, just like with all-star selection, just like with, the all-NBA top 75 team, all that stuff, no matter what, there's incredible players in this league. There's amazing players that we're fortunate to watch. And sometimes I think we spend too much time arguing over which guy is better instead of taking a moment and saying, thank God we get to see these guys play on a given night. And that is, to me, the important thing that we should be focusing on.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes. Yes.
Major facts. So Luka, he comes to the Lakers last month. Real quick, how do I ask this? How many years do you think Luka bought LeBron to now he doesn't have to share the load of all the scoring and all that? How many years did he buy LeBron into the retirement? And two, are you still shocked that Luka Doncic is a Laker?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that he has bought LeBron some time. I think it comes down to and LeBron's talked about this. Is it mentally? Does he have what it takes to ramp up, right? To prepare the way he needs to prepare his body for each and every game. We're talking about both the pregame process, postgame, the recovery, all of there's a lot that goes into all of that. So mentally, is he ready for that season after season? But you see what he's doing right now. He's a top 5, at worst, top 10 player in the NBA right now. He can keep going for a number of years if mentally he wants to. I do think it is now easier. We can see it for him on the floor. And he's been asking for this for 5-6 years. He's been wanting someone to take the offensive burden off of his shoulders so he can do the things that he's doing right now. He can focus more defensively. He can focus more on the boards. The shots come easier for him. So I do think if mentally he wants to keep playing, there's nothing stopping him. He is still an incredible talent and one of the very best players in the NBA. As far as Luka being shocked that he is a Laker, yeah, man. I mean, I still, a couple times a week, I go back and I look at that Shams tweet, the breaking news, and I'm like, holy crap, this really did happen. It is still strange seeing him on the Lakers roster, seeing him in a Lakers uniform. I mean, this is the most shocking trade in NBA history. No one saw this coming. We've never seen this in sports before, where something came out, at least in the NBA, where something came out and the response across sports media was that this is fake. This is somebody got hacked for this to be real. I mean, it is unbelievable, and I still look up in disbelief that Luka is wearing purple and gold right now.
Listen, when that broke, I screenshotted the Shams tweet to Dennis. It was damn near midnight here in New York because they just played the Knicks, and I didn't get a response from Dennis until the following morning. He's like, "Hey, what happened?" I'm like, "Bro, Luka." Luka's on the Lakers.
I didn't believe the tweet. I didn't believe
bro,
it.
who?
I didn't believe
Why?
anything he said.
It's real. I said, bro, I kept refreshing it. It's like every 2 seconds. Like, nah, this can't be. Then Shams puts out, yo, it's real, it's not hacked. And I was like, yo, I just didn't know how to react. And I think the whole world didn't know how to react. Why? He's 25 years old. Why would they do this? What's the real backstory? And why to the Lakers only? And there's so many things. It's like, and as you unfold, it's like, damn, like he's a Laker, and it's like that's it. Like for the next 10, 12 years, that's the future of the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it was a godsend of a trade to the Lakers. I mean, for them to get their guy, that was the big question: was who's it going to be post LeBron? What's going to happen? Are they going to try to build around a 33, 34-year-old Anthony Davis? What's that going to look like? And now that's not a question anymore. Now they know who their guy is for the future. They got a 25, now 26-year-old Luka Doncic. Absolutely incredible. And I did the exact same thing. I thought Shams had been hacked, especially because it didn't come out with a graphic or anything. It was not his normal, posting style. And then when it was no, this is real, I'm like, well, that's exactly what a hacker would say, right? It was when the notification went off on Threads. But it was Shams' post on Threads, and I went, oh, my God, this is real. There's no way somebody hacked both accounts. This is actually happening. Still, I mean, man, what an incredible – the downside, from the Lakers' perspective anyway, the downside was they put on a really impressive performance last time they played the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. And it was like that game just got erased because it happened about an hour after the game ended. That game just done. Nobody was talking about that game anymore. It was all Luka to the Lakers.
Yeah. Denny Blanco, go ahead.
Wow. Well, second in the West. You got Luka. You have JJ Redick. If you had to roll the dice, Trevor, are you betting this team making the finals this year?
You know, I wouldn't have them as the favorite to make the finals. I do think OKC, they've been far and away the best team in the Western Conference. They've been fantastic all year long. I think they have to be the favorite coming into the playoffs as well. But after that, like, I know they've had their problems with Denver, but the dynamic of this team has changed so much with Luka. The way they're playing basketball right now, the defensive end, the offensive end that's coming around, you know, I think they can be a problem for anybody on any given night. This is certainly not where we were back in October, back in November with this team. I cannot count them out at all. I think they have a real shot to get the finals. I would not make them the favorite, but man, I mean, they are playing as well as anybody in the NBA right now. And I think there's going to be a big test coming up this month. The month of March is going to be very difficult for them. But as they're playing right now, I cannot count them out. I think they have a real legitimate shot at getting to the finals this year.
Randy, Trevor, if I was any other team, would I want to play him in the first
round? No, because if it began today, I know they're playing like they're playing like maybe Minnesota, Sacramento Clippers, or the Mavericks. If it began today, and I see LA advancing, it just now you got to get maybe Denver or Memphis in round 2, which they could beat Memphis. They can beat Denver Nuggets. So it might come down to the Thunder.
It's going to be very interesting couple of weeks. It's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks. I can't wait.
I know I got you on, Trevor, to talk about this game tomorrow with the Knicks and the Lakers in LA. If you could see my room, but I have Kobe up here. I'm not a Laker fan.
I saw it,
but Kobe's up there. That's the guy. That's a god. But on the other side, what you can't see is Jalen Brunson jersey. So I'm a big Knicks fan on this side. Before we get to the game, what have you been able to see from the Knicks, their season right now? They're number 3 in the Eastern Conference behind Cleveland and Boston, defending champion. What have you been seeing on their side? And just like Denny asked you about how far can LA go, how far can this team with the Knicks go?
You know, I think the Knicks, I was very hopeful that the Knicks would be the team to kind of make the leap, kind of the leap that the Cavs made this season. I feel like the Knicks are kind of in a weird spot. I think they're in their own tier in the East. I think it's Boston and Cleveland are 1-2. They're in a tier at the top, right? And then it's the Knicks. And then you've got some teams, you've got Milwaukee and some teams like that are right behind them. But the Knicks are kind of in their own weird spot. And in the 3rd seed, they have not been able to get the wins that they wanted over the top clubs. And so I still need to see that from them to prove that they can beat and hang with those top level teams. But I do think there's been fundamentally a major shift in the Knicks, where last year they crushed teams on the offensive glass. That was such a big part of their identity. This season, now maybe the return of Mitchell Robinson shifts them back towards that a little bit, but that has not really been their MO in terms of how they're winning games. They've had some incredibly efficient offensive games. Karl Anthony Towns has had his difficulties in the post. So they've kind of shifted on the fly with Mikal Bridges coming in and Towns coming in, what they are as a team. I still think they are a very, very formidable opponent. I think there's somebody that can give anybody a real challenge on any given night. I was hoping that the wing depth for the Knicks this season would give them a real leg up and put them on an even footing with the Boston Celtics. I don't think it's quite done that. I haven't seen them perform quite at that level, but I can't count them out in any matchup. And I do think right now the benefit in the East of being the 1 seed and not the 2 seed is probably going to be that you don't have to play the Knicks in the second round. So that's what I see happening here. I don't have the Knicks advancing past the Celtics or the Cavs. I was rooting for them going into the season, but they just haven't quite showed that yet. But I do think there's a gap between the Knicks and everybody else in the East that's not the Cavs and not the Celtics.
Damn, Trevor. Damn. I'm thinking, I obviously we joke around and I told Dennis 2 years ago, I felt they should have made the conference finals. They lost to Miami. They should have made it last year. The injury bug hit them crazy, and they lost in game 7 at home. This year, the addition of Mikal Bridges and OJ of Mikal and Cat has really added some offensive firepower to that team. I know they got to work on the bench, and they got Mitchell back coming. So I just think, hey, listen, if we're gonna be 0-7, 0-8 now, when it comes playoff time, everything could change because they might know the schemes. They might have everybody healthy by that time. So I'm just looking optically as a fan that when it's all said and done, when it's 0-0 playoff format, if I play Cleveland, if I play Boston, all right, let's jump on and see what can happen when everybody's fully healthy. So they haven't been healthy the entire season. So yeah, we lost on national TV. We're 0-7. I get all that, even against OKC. But I'm just hoping that when it comes to playoff time and everybody's healthy, it's a different outcome.
Yeah, you can hope. You can pray.
So. I'm with you. I want to see the Knicks give one of these teams a run. I think that would be fantastic to see. And everybody getting healthy, that's a huge part of that. If they can get all their guys out there on the floor, then we could see what this team could really truly be. But yeah, right now I think there's another level they can get to. It's just a matter of seeing them put everything together and really getting there. And I really hope that Mitch Robinson really winds up being like their trade deadline acquisition, like the piece that's going to come back. I know he only played 15 minutes the other night against the Warriors. I hope he eventually gets back to 100% because that can be a difference maker for them and be the piece that gets them up to that next level.
Is tomorrow night a bigger name for the Lakers or for the Knicks?
I mean, the Knicks are coming off that loss to the Warriors. My hope is the Lakers aren't looking ahead to the matchup with Boston, which they have coming up the next game.
On Saturday, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to say because the Lakers I feel like the Knicks are pretty comfortable in the 3 seed right now in the East. They're not going to catch Boston. They're not going to catch Cleveland, but I also don't think they're getting caught by the Bucks. I think in terms of actually winning the game, this is a bigger deal for the Lakers because they only have up a half a game on the Denver Nuggets, who are playing right now, but they're up a half game on Denver. They're in a tighter race for the 2 seed there in the West. So I'm going to say it's a big game for them because of that. But I also think the Knicks have something to prove in terms of beating the top competition. The Lakers have been playing like one of the top teams in the NBA. So there's something to that. But in terms of the standings, I think the Lakers have more on the line right now in tomorrow night's game than the Knicks do.
I mean, as of right now, with 3 behind Boston, I'm not saying like there is a chance that we can. I think to their benefit, if they can somehow get the 2 seed, that will help exponentially. If you're gonna if you're gonna get Boston in round 2. But Denny Blanco, any final ones before Trevor heads out?
Trevor, where can they find your beautiful voice? Please let everyone know where they can hear that voice, please.
You can find me over on the Lakers Nation YouTube channel, youtube.com/Lakers Nation, the NBA front office show, the basketball bulletin as well. I'm all over the place. And then the LakersNation.com podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Real quick, talk about that the podcast, Lakers Nation. How often do you do it? Is it after every game, or how often do you do it?
It's basically every day. It is a daily podcast. We cover everything going on with the Lakers. Every once in a while, there'll be an opportunity to take a Saturday or Sunday off. Basically, it's a 5-day a week, Monday through Friday show. But if there's a game Friday night or Saturday night, then there'll be a show that night because we do a post game. So it winds up being pretty much 7 days a week during the season that we do the show, which is a lot. But there's always a lot going on in the world of the Lakers. And
I figured the show you did with the Luka trade was probably the most eyeballs you've had.
It blew my mind. It was the most the most viewers. It eclipsed the Lakers winning the championship in 2020. It eclipsed that post-game show, which is insane. I mean, more people could chime in because it was such a, oh my God, what happened? Everybody jumping in. Yeah, we had more people that watched Luka the Lakers than watched the 2020 post-championship post-game show. Unbelievable. It's been a great month for the Lakers, that's for sure. And people are very, very interested in what's going on with this team.
I got a question. One last one. Do you think the Lakers, 2-part, the earliest you see Lakers winning a championship? And number 2, do you think, like, how bad do you think they need one to, because a lot of fans keep saying 2020's asterisk, it's the bubble, it don't really count. Like, how crucial you think it is for them to get one more?
So, I mean, I could see them winning one this year. I don't, again, I wouldn't make them the favorite to do it, but I think they're in the mix of teams that could win one this year, just with how well they're playing right now, the way they're competing on the defensive end. And bottom line, you get in a playoff series and JJ Redick and LeBron James and Luka get the game plan for one specific opponent. That I'm really interested to see what they come up creatively on the offensive and defensive ends of the floor. And then as far as how critical it is that they win another one, I mean, they've got 17 championships. Of course, they would love to catch the Celtics and get back up tied again with 18. I don't buy into the whole like asterisk thing in the bubble and all of that. I think a lot of that came down to, people want to try to take shots at the Lakers whenever they possibly can. But is it critical they win one? No, I mean, LeBron's legacy is secure. This man is easily one of the greatest of all time, maybe the greatest ever. I don't think we need to worry so much about that. So I don't think they have to win a championship. It's not like, LeBron's career is not going to be, made unless he wins a championship this year or something like that. But I think they're going to give it everything they've got, and they want to catch the Celtics there at 18. So I think it would be a great thing to see. And I'll tell you the one thing that we've heard consistently from the players, especially from LeBron, who's really the only one that's still around here. Markieff Morris has now come back, but there's been a lot of frustration that in 2020 they won and did not get any kind of a parade because of COVID going on. They really want that moment. And I think that's going to be a driving, motivating factor for LeBron, Markieff Morris now back with the team, and the organization in general.
All right. Denny Blanco, any last ones?
No, man. Thank you so much, Trevor, for coming on. We appreciate it. We'll keep the seat warm for you.
Well, thank you.
For next time, definitely we'll keep the seat warm for you. Randy, please lead us off.
Find Denny Blanco on social media as Sir Denny Blanco. Find Trevor Lane at Trevor_Lane, also at Lakers Nation. Myself, Randy J. Cruz, RENDY, little JCRUZ. Podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music, YouTube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. For myself, Randy Cruz, Denny Blanco, Trevor Lane, It's in the Game Podcast. We out.
It's in the game.
Yes, sir.